Alright guys, welcome back. Bit of a longer video today, planning to play 10 games here of my NMBZ Road to 1600 duels. So we're back at 1549 right now. We're going to try to climb back up here, and we get Sigla to start off. So let's just hop straight into our first round here. And initially to me, I'm adding this commentary post, by the way, because I wasn't able to record. But yeah, looks like Alpine France, but it was actually north of Portugal there. So that's a bit tough. The landscape does make sense in some of those trees as well. So that's a bit unfortunate that we didn't really get the vibe there as we pull into Indonesia here. And it looks like we have like, I think I go for West Kalimantan here because of the metal pole. That's even, where you will only get that pretty much in Kalimantan if you're on Kalimantan. But it actually ends up being Sulawesi north. And yeah, just not the best read by me. My opponent goes Riau as well, so both not doing well on the region guessing there. As we pull into looks to be a Denmark here. Pretty straightforward. The houses do look pretty Danish. And you know, just like these like house or roofs that come to a point like that, definitely makes a lot of sense for Denmark. And we do pick that one up and pick up some points. So our opponent has a 900 health moving into round 4. And looks like we get some kind of Canada here, judging by like the single dash and then the road that turns into like a dash plus single there. I can't think of where in Alaska this would be, so North Alberta makes sense, and it is just that North BC road, which does make sense as well because it was pretty flat, and that road is flat up towards Yukon there. As we get a Chile, it looks like. I think I click on the Argentinian side of the border here, just because of the pole, instead of just trusting like what the landscape looks like. And I think I go a bit too north. I should have clicked on one of the like the X237 or like one of those roads, but one of those Chilean pockets, and it ended up being a bit further south of my plonk. And it's not going to be enough to finish off the match. So our opponent has 148 health left. And round 6, double damage. We are looking at in Australia. So I believe I make a blunder here, and I almost lose. But let's see. Looks like I'm clicking Wa, and it does end up being Queensland, and our opponent gets the Queensland. I'm a bit fortunate that he didn't go closer to the plonk, because then I could have lost. But our opponent does get Queensland there, so nice one from him. With the red soil there, I kind of just defaulted to Wa, but it probably was not the best decision. As we get what appears to be United States here. I'm a bit hesitant, and I'm not sure where to guess. I think this is a terrible guess, by the way, clicking Pennsylvania. But I was like hedging for New York, and it was just actually Ohio, so we kind of get the right state there. I'm not exactly sure what state I'm in, but we do pick it up. But yeah, just an awful guess for me, and we hit play again. And let's see who we get this time. And we get Trev. So good luck to Trev here on our second match. We get a Russia to start off. Not exactly something that I love to see, personally, especially with the long antennas. And I click Surgut here because I think it looks sandy. But I believe this one just ends up being near Moscow, and our opponent completely owns us. So, yeah, you can see I'm not happy about that one, flicking the map away. But we lose 3,000 health on round 1. Not always, I mean, never good. Never good. And we get in Australia. Moving into round 2, and we do have what appears to be like a New South Wales guardrail. I'm not sure why I went down near Canberra here. I should have probably hedged like a bit more north with this landscape, but was near Port Macquarie. But we do pick up 1,000 points there as our opponent is in Vic. So do bounce back a little bit when we move into round 3. And we get what appears to be a Colombia here. Looking back at it, I think I went Ecuador, but it is Colombia, like near Pasto, right over the border. Like it does have an Ecuadorian like landscape with these drier hills, but yeah. Um, Glad we were able to pick that up. I was not happy about that one either, as I'm shaking the screen once again. But we move into round 4. And we get another Australia. Getting a lot of Australias in the first 2 matches here. And, I'm not best at this country, I will say. Especially with all the new Gen 4 coverage, I get a little bit confused, especially on, like, WA versus, like, inland New South Wales and inland Queensland. But that's probably just a skill issue. It was a bit more north there. Actually, basically on the Queensland border with New South Wales. And round 5, we do have what appears to be Thailand here. I think these are the Thai like square poles. And I just end up clicking Peninsula here. It's super sandy. We have like some oil palms as well. And I click in the flat part on the eastern side of the mountains there, near the coast. And I do end up circling like near Bangkok, Pattaya City, but it does end up being in one of the flat parts closer to Phuket. And we do pick up the win there. So 2-0 to start this week. And we're up to 1558. So not too bad of a situation, I'd say. But let's see if we can continue as we are waiting for an opponent here. And we get AHR. Let's see what we got here, round 1. Yes, another Australia. So with this one, the soil is pretty red. And I think about it for a little bit, but I just click WA. The hill on the left side is throwing me off a little bit, and yeah, does just make sense for it to be Adelaide with the hills there. Hills hard pressed in Perth, and yeah, me just throwing the screen every once in a while is definitely a understandable reaction as we just get a France here, and with the ladder pole, double blue on that plate, and it just ends up being southeast of Paris. So we do pick up 5 in round 3. Let's see what we got cooking. And what looks like a Chile all white lines. We are in the desert. And I just end up clicking somewhere on the 5 because it should be the 5 with this road. And it was a bit more south on the 5. Near Pan de Azucar. As we move into round 4. And we have... Okay, so our opponent goes pretty fast here. I'm a little scared. Because they guess within like, I don't know, 5 to 7 seconds. And I'm like, hey, is this up there? Or is it like actually just Magadan? And I end up clicking Magadan. It looks more like Magadan to me. And yeah, I don't actually click in the town, which is a bit silly, but our opponent does end up getting it there and picking up some points on us. Yeah, I briefly thought about Murmansk, but didn't exactly look like it, so I think Magadan made more sense. Here does look like we have like a Canada, especially with the Gen 2. You'd be hard pressed to find Gen 2 in the US most of the time. And yeah, it just ends up being Nova Scotia on like some weird peninsula thing. But we are closer to New Brunswick, so not too bad. Our opponent gives us the crying face. I'm not sure why. Round 6. We have some red plates here, and my mind automatically said, yeah, let me just go Belgium with some of these houses, which was a bit silly, because you do get red text, especially like in Austria, and Vienna cars have it a lot for some reason. But yeah, just ended up being Vienna. We both go Belgium there with the red license plates. All right, so we have some wood poles here, and some of the houses definitely look Mediterranean to me, like the white faded houses. And yeah, it is just Greece here, and we do pick up the win on that one. Wood pole is usually a good indication for Greece, especially in that situation. Like the trees definitely look like Portugal or Spain border, but I think with some of the houses and the trees there, yeah, I don't know if you would find those exact style of houses or like it looking that rundown on the Portuguese/Spanish border in general. But yeah, we go on to 3-0 in the weekend series, but we are looking for an opponent here. Just chilling, just waiting. Let's see if we can find one. It is taking a little bit. I believe I was sitting in this queue for a little bit, and we do pick up Trev once again. So we played them in game 2. We get them again in game 4. Um, Here we go. All right, to start off, I think I was very confused as to what this one was. Um, yeah, just a generic, very nice road though. There's a ditch on the side. I think I just defaulted for Germany here, which makes sense. There probably is a 2023 copyright if I'm sending this, obviously. Um, does it end up being Germany or does it end up being Netherlands? Like, let's find out. It actually ends up being Netherlands there. Or Belgium. Okay, Belgium makes sense. Yeah, and yeah, I'm not happy about that one. But yeah, at least we got the right like region, I guess. So I'll take that as a consolation. We do get U.S. here, and yeah, I just click like Illinois, um, just because it is quite flat and looks agricultural. And I think the houses don't exactly speak to me like super far south, and we end up like basically plonking on it. So good guess there. As we got our opponent down to 1300 health in 2 rounds. And round 3. Looks like we got a Thailand here driving left. We're looking at the back of the car. You can see that little dent on the back where the antenna would be on some cars. But yeah, we basically have that square pole as well. Yellow center lines. All telling me Thailand there. And it actually ends up being near Lao border, northeast. But we do pick up some points. We are a bit closer as we move into round 4 here. And yeah, we have some white flowers here. But the wider road definitely makes me think Lithuania here. And I don't see any green blur. I'm also hard pressed to like get necessarily like guess like long antenna uh Estonia. So our opponent gives us the question mark. But maybe that's just like a me using fake meta thing after I make a full fake meta video. But yeah, we did have white flowers there, so interesting one. As I believe I got owned by this player actually. So like let's see what happens. But I mean we do pick up this round. It is Canada, of course. Some of these like brick style houses are definitely like I would say a Canadian thing, and like the way how nice this neighborhood is. Yeah, I think it ends up being Barry, I assume. But yeah, these like 1-story brick houses, give me more of like a Toronto, like that area vibe. Yeah, it ends up being Barry. As we start off good, we pick up 500 points. But spoilers, let's see what happens. Round 2. I believe I make a couple of huge blunders in this game, but we'll see. We do have a Italy plate on the front of that car, so it is Italy, and I just end up clicking outside Naples, which makes some sense to me, as I do end up circling down there near Bari, but it actually ends up being Sicily, so cool location, I guess, at the end of the day. It was pretty dry, landscape wise, although it was like you couldn't really see too much of the landscape. It was pretty urbanized, but like with that dryness, it does make sense. Yeah, and we just get an easy Misiones here with the red soil, black car showing. And yeah, I kind of just go for like a east-west road. Um, but yeah, it ends up being more into the little pocket there. We do pick up 400 points as we move into round 4. And let's see, we get a Finland here. We have the bollard on the top. I end up clicking all the way up there because the tree line is quite short. And yeah, we end up getting the right latitude, basically. So we pick up 600 damage. Where does it all go wrong, though? Let's find out. Round 5, 1.5x damage. We get a South Africa here. And yeah, I recall, hey, like I originally had my marker in Cape Town here. And then I believe my silly gooseness moves it. Hey, let me hedge a little bit more. So I go to like Still Bay or something, or that city. Yeah, and it just ends up being Cape Town. So, spoilers. Bit of a bad guess for me. I should have just stuck with the gut and gone Cape Town there. But yeah, we are closer. But yeah, the mental is breaking down a little bit. Not trusting myself on the initial plonk. But yeah, round 6. Let's see. We get a Norway here, and looks pretty northern. Not too many trees. Um, to me, at least, looks a little bit more northern. But yeah, it just ends up being south. On like one of the ends of the fjord. So that's kind of where it starts going wrong, and we lose the mental a little bit, flicking the map once again. Round 7. Okay, and then on this one, I thought, hey, the stop sign looks like it has some Italian influence Croatia to it with the same font. Um, yeah, just a bit silly of me not thinking of Greece here. I probably should have looked at like the street signs or anything, but like the first thing I noticed was the stop sign. But yeah, was just Greece, and our opponent is closer. It's just in Thessaloniki, which, yeah, just a bit unfortunate there that he goes Bulgarian is a bit closer. Um, but yeah, triple damage. And this round, yeah, so not much to go off of here. Um, my initial thought was North Sumatra or Riau with like these oil palms, these plantations. Um, but yeah, actually just ends up being Sulawesi. So yeah, not good. We almost lose there. We go down to 73 points of health. But yeah, this round 9 is unfortunate. Because it's Finland, and it's really just a crapshoot of whether you can latitude guess or not. I end up going pretty north here. I switch a little bit further south, but just ends up being near Oulu, and our opponent gets it, and that's going to be the game. So, couple unfortunate region guesses from me, which caused me to fumble the bag and just lose the game. But yeah, nothing really to do there. But yeah, let's try to get another match, and we get Sebi here. So, I'm going to try to get some elo back in round 1. As we get a Japan to start off, yeah, I mean, not too much to go off of here. Like, we don't have pole tops that I can see. I wish I knew my plates, but yeah, I end up going Kyushu there, and it ends up being Tanabe in Wakayama. So our opponent is closer, getting Osaka there. So a good guess from them. I don't know if that was a hedge or if they know their pole plates, but good guess nonetheless. As we get an Argentina here, especially with this lamp. Lamp looks very Argentinian. And he is a bit closer. He's in Rosario, so we are losing the first 2 rounds of this duel here, but let's see if we can bring it back. Round 3, moving into it. We do get a United States. So, like, this is a little bit weird. We have some red soil. Yeah, I kind of just clicked Tennessee here because I know the north of, like, Alabama, Mississippi is pretty hilly. So like this is kind of just a hedge for a lot of things, especially with the red soil. Like I don't really see it being too far north, and it was just South Carolina up in the mountains. So yeah, we are closer there, and we take the lead as we get a round 4 Brazil. And yeah, I mean this one really also messed me up. Like I see some sand on the left here, or sorry, on the right. And yeah, to me, like the houses look more northeastern, like a bunch of like red roof spam. Um, and like it looks semi-tropical, and yeah, it ends up being Sergipe, and I believe I am a bit closer there, but just a little bit of confusing Brazil round. Nothing new for me on this channel. Free Taiwan here, so yeah, we can just click middle, and I believe our opponent does as well here. Really not much to do in these situations when it just looks like it's in the mountains somewhere. So kind of just click on the middle of Taiwan. We do pick up some points. And we get round 6. Let's see what we got. We get what looks like a Po Valley. We have a short plate on the front there. And yeah, we're just right into it, and it ends up being east of Milan in Melzo. But yeah, we're kind of just chipping away at the opponent right now. But like high Maltese, anything can happen, of course. So it is a bit scary as we move into round 7. And we do get like tilted short antenna here, I do believe. I actually don't know if it's tilted or if it's just because we're like driving on a little slant here. But yeah, it looks like this area, like south of Moscow area, near Ukraine. So I end up clicking there, and yeah, it kind of was a bit further east towards Tambov, but our opponent kind of makes a similar guess, and we only lose 100 plus points. Round 8. Let's see what we got. Um, so this initially strikes me as New Zealand. Like we have, architecture that would be similar to stuff that we find in Australia, but like the yellow dashed outer lines, I feel like is more of a New Zealand thing. Um, and yeah, I think that road sign up there, the green one by the yellow cream colored building, with the with the red road numbers, is like pretty clearly New Zealand to me, as well as the yellow street signs underneath that blue sign, in front of us to the north. I think all of those told me New Zealand. But yeah, we end up being in bulls. And I think that makes sense because we had bulls on the sign, but I didn't actually know that was a place. But now I know. So that's cool as we move into round 9. We get a Qatar here. We got the red like registration strip, I would assume, on the left side of the license plate. So just click near Doha here, and our opponent is a little bit closer, but it's only 35 points, so it's not a big deal. As we move into quad damage, which is quite big. But yeah, we do get a Norway here. It's looking pretty north, like the tree line looks short, and this road angle makes sense for the road that I'm on. I originally clicked there, and then I click down here for some reason. So we would have had the 5K-ish. Would have been a bit closer. And I think I made a mental note to myself, like, where is bro guessing? Because he's not even on the road. So I'm not sure why he's guessing there. But yeah, it's just a bit weird of a weird guess there. And then this one is where, yeah, I mean, okay, so we have a mountain north, basically. So my initial thought was Cochabamba, but we literally have Peru electricity counters, like, right there. And, like, I'm looking at it. Like, my mouse hovers over it, the blue thing there. And then there's one on the yellow building on the right side. Um, so yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, especially with the tuk-tuk as well. Like, I feel like tuk-tuks are, like, way more rare in Bolivia in general. Um, and, like, yeah, you can see I'm thinking about Peru. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was just like a total like tunnel on my part to go Cochabamba. I'm like looking for that. Maybe the region starts with a J there. And that's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for like the neighborhood in Cochabamba that starts with a J. And then I'm just like, yeah, I don't see it, but I'm still gonna send it anyway. So yeah, I mean, just not a good performance from me. I should have switched, but yeah, our opponent gets it and it ends up being like north of Ayacucho there. And I know that's game, of course. And yeah, just a bit of a silly one there. But we moved down to 15-14 in this one. But yeah, we're going to try to bounce back here. That's 2 losses already on the series. And we get the same opponent again. So let's see if we can get revenge on this one. All right. So we have BC guardrail to start off. Those like cinder blocks, as opposed to like a metal guardrail, is going to be a BC thing, and we just send it in immediately. And yeah, let's see where our opponent goes here. And yeah, a bit of a, I don't know. But yeah, ends up being closer to Idaho border, I believe that is. And yeah, round 2. We get initially what I just think is Quebec. Like we have black car. There's corn growing on the left here, or some kind of crop. But yeah, it just looks like Quebec to me. It's a bit more green as well. And like, yeah, just never really seen Ontario that looks like this. More of a vibe thing. But yeah, it ends up actually being Quebec. Yeah, just right on the border with the black car. So yeah, we do pick that up. We do get some points there. Round 3. Okay, this one. So this one, I thought Roraima initially because we have like these really short trees, like bushy trees and super red soil. So like those two things pointed me towards Roraima. And like just because, we would, if we were looking south and we didn't see any mountains, I would maybe think about it differently. But yeah, I mean, it just ends up being MGDS, and like some areas in there, like we will get very red soil, but yeah, not happy with that guess, obviously. But yeah, especially with those short trees, man, seems like such a rhyme of bait to me. Um, but yeah, we quickly slam this one into a Queensland. Um, yeah, and our opponent is a bit closer. So the flawless is gone, but we start moving into multis here. So let's see what we get on round 5. We get a Peru. Not going to miss this one again. I mean, we got the pole top for this one this time. So that really helps, especially with like, you know, I mean, this is just never anywhere else. So, but yeah, I click Chimbote here. I think it could be any one of those coastal cities, but it actually ends up being south of Lima. Like, did not expect that. San Vicente. But yeah, our opponent with an interesting guess there in the mountains. By the way, I didn't note that, but like, yeah, it is a bit strange to guess there with that kind of a flatness and the houses. But all power to them. As we get in French stop sign, and it ends up being like Western Quebec near the Ontario border, but it's a little bit unfortunate there. Kind of just got to know what that looks like, I feel. So that's all good. We move into round 7. We do get a Philippines here. Driving on the right, you can see the front of the car, white car as well, which makes sense. And I just end up clicking like for a hedge, and it ends up being like lose on, like right at the end of coverage there. And we almost pick up enough to knock our opponent out, but they have 500 health left. So we move into triple damage. All right, on this one, like the initial thought is Baltic here. And I think that does make sense. Like the warehouse is a bit strange for the US, I think. Like that style. And like this true forest definitely looks more European than it does American to me. But yeah, with this 2022 coverage, like this crisp coverage, yeah, I thought Latvia can, but it was Estonia. But yeah, not happy about that one, but we do pick that one up. So we do get the win. As we are 5-2, I believe, in the weekend series, and we get the same player once again. So good luck to them. On the third go around, best of 3. Let's see, whoever wins this one obviously gets the set. But yeah, looks like more so CDMX architecture to me. Colonial, I guess, in a way. And yeah, it just ends up being SLP. And we are 1,000 health closer. So good damage to start it off as we move into round 2. Let's see what we got. What looks like French road lines to me, I think it makes sense, especially what like with these dashes that almost come together but don't, and the Gen 2. But yeah, it ends up being France and South as well, so good region guess there by me. As we are racking up some damage here in 2 rounds, so moving to round 3, we have a New South Wales guardrail again. Guardrail ending, I mean. But yeah, we end up clicking a bit more north this time. Thinking about the last couple of New South Wales rounds that we had. And yeah, it does end up being just near Sydney, so a bit unfortunate there, but we do pick up almost 1,000 points of damage. And round 4, yeah, I mean, we have a huge blur on the left side of the screen, but I think looking at the houses in the distance, and like some of these pines definitely make sense for where I'm about to go. I think that's the logic. Like we had a bunch of white houses with red roofs on the mountains there. So yeah, the thought was Portugal with the pines as well. The landscape makes sense. So yeah, we do end up clicking Portugal, and it is Portugal, but a bit more north. But yeah, we almost pick up knockout damage there as our opponent is in Italy. Totally understandable guess with that landscape. All right, on this one, I'm a bit confused because this looks like a freshly paved road. But it is looking like a bit more dry this time. Mediterranean for sure, I would say. The guardrail as well is throwing me off, but like with the dryness and some of the soil, I end up defaulting to Spain. Um, yeah, I am a bit confused on this one because the road is like freshly paved and the pavement is like not something that I'm used to seeing in most of these Mediterranean countries. But yeah, it does end up just being Spain, north of Valencia there, so we do pick up the win. Um, so yeah, we are 6-2 in the weekend series, and let's see if we can continue that streak. Moving into match 9. Yeah, this is a longer video than usual, guys, but I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you guys are watching till the end, like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And yeah, we're trying to hit 1,000 subs, so hopefully we can get there. All right. So on this one, we get the same opponent again, by the way, 4 times in a row. Kind of a cool little rivalry that we got going on here. But yeah, initially, I think I'm a little bit confused, but I do end up slamming Norway here with that shield, like, or like, I guess, rocky mountain on the left. And yeah, it does make sense that it is like southern coast with some of those trees. But yeah, we are a bit closer. 415 points of damage. Round 2. All right, with the wooden signposts and like the single yellow, it looks like Ontario to me. And I'm just clicking in Algonquin National Park. And I believe this ends up being a bit more north or east. Wait. Yeah, it ends up being a bit more north there. So we do pick up some damage right near Charlton. You can see that bend in the road, like that 90-degree bend that we saw looking at it. All right, so it looks like we're back in the Americas here. The houses to me initially spoke like Sask or Alberta, I think. With like these style of like wooden houses with the horizontal boards. Yeah, just spoke to me as Alberta. So we do end up clicking Alberta here. Especially with this wide road as well, and it ends up being like way more north than I expected. Um, but yeah, we do pick up like 1,500 points of damage, so it's not too bad as we are flawlessing going into round 4. But yeah, just a bit of a weird round there. And we do have an Indonesia here. Oh, it's this round. Okay, so Indonesia here, I am a bit confused. Like the road is thin, but like I didn't think Java, of course, with this landscape or this road. So I end up like going Kalimantan here. And then why am I circling there when we have Indopol? Yeah, I don't know. I end up circling Sarawak there. Like I didn't think Sumatra here. Just because like I would usually see like a bit more tropical plants. Like we do have some ferns, but like I would expect to see like some palm trees here. But yeah, just ends up being South Sumatra. Like I guess more inland, so maybe that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Round 5, we can see the back of the Kazakhstan car here. So we are in Kazakhstan, and it is like a bit more sandy, I think, but like not super sandy. So I don't know why I'm going super close to Caspian here. It ends up being in October, so like we are close, but just kind of luckily, I would say. So not the best read and guess for me there. I definitely need to practice some Kazakhstan as well. But yeah, round 6. As we do get what appears to be a Americas once again. And like no fronts here makes me think Canada initially. But then I gaslight myself, I think, here into going Pennsylvania. So like I take a little bit. But like I don't know what I'm thinking because these houses definitely look like more northern houses than Pennsylvania. Um, Especially like Philly. Like I don't know, like I'm sure you can see these houses in Philly, but like I think with the pole as well. Yeah, I am circling up towards Quebec there. Um, because like that was my initial thought, and like I gaslit myself just into going straight up towards Philly. So yeah, not sure why I send this one in, but sometimes your brain works in mysterious ways while you're playing duels, man. Um, as yeah, I'm circling like Montreal, and yeah, it just ends up being Ottawa. So just a little unfortunate there, but yeah, we don't lose, so that's like the biggest thing I will say. as we get round 7. So like it's looking very dry and sandy. These stick fences, like I've seen on South Sulawesi, but also on the Nusas as well. Um, but yeah, we just end up like going Sumba or like one of these. Um, the bar on the pole is not necessarily reaching that outer transformer there. But yeah, it just looks like one of these islands, like East Nusa, Sumba, Timor, just because of the dryness of the soil there. And I end up just hedging the sea, and it ends up being West Nusa. But we do pick up the win there based off of that, so I can't complain. I can't complain. Um, yeah, so we are 7-2, I do believe. So let's see who we get for our last opponent of the video. And we do get Bezo here. So a surprise Bezo sighting for the 10th match of the series. All right, so we do have 5 dashes on the crosswalk. That does mean Finland when we're trying to determine between Finland, Sweden, or Norway, because Finland is the only one with 5. Also, very Finnish street sign on the left there, underneath the crosswalk sign. And it ends up being like way more north than I expected it to be. And even Bezo, like you can see, he clicked near Helsinki, which is a totally reasonable guess, I think. But yeah, just a bit of a weird round there. Urban Finland is a bit hard to region guess, I will say. All right, we do get another Australia, man. I like with the amount that Australia is showing up on AIW, it's a little bit scary. And yeah, I click on Adelaide or like South Australia, Vic border, but like realistically, I should have just committed, and it ends up just being Vic. So I don't know. I guess Bezo kind of had the same thought there because he's going kind of in the same area as me, but yeah, should have just committed on no multis. Round 3 here, like we have some Arabic, and yeah, I just default towards Amman, but like I probably should have thought, hey, I mean, doesn't like the roads are quite thin here, doesn't like super look like Amman, and it ends up being Karak, so um, we both do no damage to each other because we both end up clicking Amman. So round 4. All right, so these mesas, I mean, really threw me off, or like these domes, I guess. Um, yeah, so I ended up clicking New Mexico, but like with the shrubbery and stuff, like that's a bit of a silly guess, and it ends up being Idaho, and like it looks like we got some POIs for like East Butte or whatever that was there. But yeah, very cool. Never seen that before, but at least now we know. All right. On this one, this is looking like Eastern Russia. Darker soil. Like some of these houses to me, like I can't really place this one in like like the west part of Russia, especially west of the Urals. And I know like we do get a lot of painted tree stumps like around this area, like east of China. So I end up clicking here. I probably should have committed more towards Vladivostok, just looking at it with some of these trees and stuff. Um, but yeah, Bezo crying at us, but he does make the correct guess here, and he actually like gets the right city as well. So like big from him. As we do lose some health there, and I tell him complimentary GG, of course, for getting the right city. All right, this super red soil, but we do have some very Mexican looking plants growing. And like the architecture looks way more Mexican as well than Brazil, which is usually the default with the red soil, and it just ends up being like northeast of Mexico City. We do pick up some points back, but it is a bit scary. We are on the back foot here. We are losing. But we get round 7. We have like these like mossy things on the trees, which is just making me think Florida. It looks pretty swampy, I think, with like the moss on the trees or whatever. Ends up being a bit more north near like the southern Georgian swamps as well. So that does make some sense. And Bezo does end up picking up some health on us with that one. Yeah, so this one, we do have front plates. We have the transformer that's facing the road. So that usually either tells me New Brunswick or BC. I mean, we have a Canadian flag there. So I do end up scanning BC, I do believe. Um, I'm not sure how I didn't find this one. I'm not gonna lie, but my brain, like, I don't know, just didn't think about it. Yeah, I am thinking a bit here. Um, and I give him a little cry. But yeah, I initially click Prince Rupert, and then I scan Victoria Island, I do believe. Yeah, like I'm going, or Vancouver Island, sorry. And like I'm looking at those. Like, I don't know. But like we wouldn't have island to the south there. So I don't know why I didn't look like on islands north of Vancouver Island. And like I just end up clicking like something that doesn't line up at all. Because it does look like Trekker. I think this is Trekker, by the way, judging by this blur and how low we are to the ground. But yeah, um, it ends up being like this Alert Bay Island or Alert Bay City here. And we do lose some health there. And it makes sense that we're looking south at Vancouver Island. Um, but yeah. All right, on this one, let's see. So I think with some of these houses, I initially thought like South Poland. And like the houses do look like South Poland. They're like that area, but like I don't know if the poles fit on the right here. So I ended up switching towards like northern Slovakia with the poles. And I think it does make a lot of sense with some of these like rolling hills that you'll get more towards a Polish border. And yeah, let's see where this one is. I mean, yeah, Bezo ends up clicking in Romania, which is an understandable guess, but it does end up being on the Polish border in Slovakia. So good read by me. I'm happy with that one. I am happy with that one. But we move into round 10 as we do get a Finland here, I do believe. We do have a bunch of red houses. I just made a fake meta video on this one, but yeah, it does look more like Finland to me than Sweden. Yeah, and we end up being a little bit closer there. So we'll take that. We're staying alive, and we basically even it up. Actually, take the lead. So round 11, 4.5x damage, a little bit scary. As yeah, we just get a Chile here. So with some of these houses, I just think Puerto Montt initially, like these small, like boxy houses, I guess, in a way. But yeah, end up hedging a bit more north. I probably should have just committed, and I'm quite lucky here. But yeah, you can see me thinking about it. I'm like, maybe I should go Puerto Montt. So I click Osorno. And yeah, I mean, he goes Punta Arenas there. But yeah, it ends up being in Puerto Montt initially, like where I initially thought, and I just gaslight myself. But yeah, that's 10 games and a bit of a longer video. But thank you guys for watching. And hope you guys are having a great day. See ya.